It's called video proof. Oh, he just turned off the lights. Think he saw me putting the recording on. Oh, you think he knows that I'm following him? That's okay. We'll get you Central. Constitutional freedom fighter, what's going on? Early morning, guys. Early morning. I just saw this following his cop for like 3 miles with his lights on, just cruising, not even going to a call. And then he saw me turn my camera on, turned off his lights, and then he just instantly changed lanes to get away from me. So I'm gonna try to head him off at the pass up this way. I saw the unit number. I think it was like 608, unit 608. So early morning, man, none of y'all ever sleep, do y'all? So just because I'm busy, you got off the phone with me when I had the live stream, so sorry about that. But so I'm on a live stream. God dang it. I hate when people do that. If I don't answer you once, I'm not going to answer you a second time. Maybe I'm on a live stream. I woke you up. That's funny. Anyways, oh, here's that cop right there. I think this is him. I think this is the same cop because he came around. Yeah, that's him right there. 608. Yep, that's him. That is him right there. I beat him over here to this section right here. So we're gonna turn back around, follow this guy, because this guy, now he's in the right lane. He was trying to lose me because he had his lights on when he shouldn't have. But so right now, guys, just let you guys know, I'm up in Fort Worth right now. See, there he is. He turned that way. Brownie, lay down all the way. So you got a bunch of these corrupt cops. See, now he made a U-turn right there. He's sitting in that parking lot. But he's in that parking lot to my right. I don't want to pull up behind him and let him know that I'm there yet. We're gonna kind of just watching these clowns, man. I got some business to take care of in like an hour and a half. So I figured I'd do some cop watching. If we found something, I saw some with the lights on, and the next thing you know, this guy had his lights on for like 3 miles when he shouldn't have. So we're just gonna go ahead and pull right here. See, he thought he could lose me by making that turn and coming around, but I know the damn street's over here. Brownie, you need the window? So this unit right here, 608, this is technically east side. He's sitting right outside his beat area, because the east area commands down the road, so he's way out of his beat area. They do that to try to dodge calls. So we're gonna see how long he sits here, because like I said, he drove 3 miles or so with his lights on for no reason. not going to a call because he was finishing up something near the highway. And then he tried to lose me and went around the other way, but unfortunately I know the streets. But these guys will try to come over here and hide. Hide from doing any work. That's unit 608 right there. Now, I was hoping he was going to still have his lights on when he pulled up, because then I was going to pull up next to him on the live stream and let him know that his lights were still on. And then ask him, ask him the typical questions. Are you headed to an emergency? Why are your lights on? Turn your goddamn lights off. But he saw me fiddling with my phone to capture what was going on, and then he just turned off his lights right as I got my live stream going. Because I think if you go back to the beginning of the live stream, you'll actually see where his lights were on for a few seconds. Then he turned them off. I wasn't going to go live. What's up, Steve Conkler? I wasn't going to go live. Kansas City Accountability in the house. What's up? I've been trying to get Kansas City Accountability to do more cop watching, but, he's scared of them cops, man. Every time he looks at a cop wrong, they jam him up. No, Slice Shot, you're not blocked. Good old Red Bull. We're just sitting here watching this guy, though, because, like I said, I got an hour and 40 minutes to kill. We can go and see how long this guy's going to sit and waste taxpaying dollars. His shift, I believe, ends at... I'm wanting to say his shift ends at 9 o'clock. Yeah, because CFF, that was because I followed him for like 3 freaking miles with his lights on. KCA in the house. I haven't talked to you in a couple days, KCA. A lot of stuff going on. Got city council today up in Hillsboro. I'm bringing a few people up there to speak tonight, so I'm hoping that more people will show up. Don't be scared. Don't be scared of Hillsboro. I think I'm going to drop my, at the end of the speech or at the beginning, play stupid games, win stupid prizes. I think I'm going to drop that line again. I like that line. Probably drop it at the end of my speech. I got a doozy of a video for you guys on Thursday morning. It's got body camera footage and everything on an audit I did. Man, you should see how this cop talked about me inside the bank. It's crazy. It's going to be a great video. If it don't go viral, I don't know what will. It's in members only right now for those of you who have memberships. It's called Tiny Cop, Big Problem on the thumbnail. It's 35 minutes long. It's got 2 911 calls. One from the bank to dispatch, one from dispatch to the officer. And then I had another call from the county from where the officer called county to inform them what's going on. But on the body camera that I obtained, you can hear her making the call, so I didn't have to put it in. Brandon Mitchell, the car is climate controlled. Yes. Kind of like a vault. Kind of like a vault. Make sure you guys hit that like button. The vents in this car are not big enough to crawl through Michael Reed. They are not big enough. It does not have roof access, unlike the banks that most of KCA visits. What other questions? What's 550 divided by 2? Is that, I don't see that in the chat. Steve Conkler with a $20 super chat. My man, right there. Everybody give Steve Conkler a shout out for that $20 super chat. I still owe constitutional freedom fighter 1 bird to a cop. He's still getting one. No, I'm using someone else's car right now, so. What's up, Bubba's? What's up? What's up, Brownie boy? What's up? Oh, you so full of love this morning. All right, guys, I'm going to turn the camera around real quick because Brownie boy here is giving me a bunch of, you giving a bunch of loves this morning? You giving a bunch of loves this morning? Huh? Huh? What? What? You can come sit in my lap? What are you doing? Oh, you such a sweet boy. You such a sweet boy. You are. You are. You such a sweet boys. You watching the copper? You see the bacon? Where's the bacon? Where's the bacon? Tell the people, where's the bacon? Where's the bacon? Where's the bacon? Where's the bacon? Tell them. Tell them. Is that right? Tell them. All right, guys. Yeah. So just so you guys know, he's here with me. I know you guys ain't seen him in a while. And in members only, I've been trying to put little videos up of him in there. That's for the members only. They get to see Brownie boy playing, running around on the ranch I'm staying at. 440 acres, people. He gets to run. Brownie, what are you doing, Bubba's? What are you doing? What are you doing, huh? So far we're, look, 12 minutes. I started the live stream, and about maybe 3 or 4 minutes later, he's been parked here. So he's been here almost 10 minutes. Can you go sit in your seat, Bubba's? Go sit in your seat. Go sit in your seat. Go sit in your seat. Thank you. Sit, 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 sit. Come on, sit. Sit down. Thank you. Sit. So right where we're at, man, we're right down the road from East Area Command. So I don't know why he's over here. He works in Central. Like I said, I got an hour and 40 minutes to kill. Actually, an hour and a half now, but we're going to see where he goes. If he goes anywhere, because he's probably just going to try to find a way to run back to the station. And by the way, guys, I must be doing something right, because I got all these trolls coming after me all of a sudden. I haven't been arrested. I haven't been trespassed. I got Andre Sloan that says he's coming after me. I got all these people in the chat that are trolls that are just literally coming hard after me. Ain't got nothing on me, man. Y'all ain't gonna find nothing because I got nothing. I just think it's funny. You think one guy that's out here trying to do this the clean way, the right way, trying not to get arrested if possible, not trying to get trespassed, trying not to break any laws, hold these cops accountable, and y'all think you're gonna have something on me and you want to come attack me? Dude, it's crazy. Yeah. No, I saw it last night, CFF, and then that's why I don't know why he was leaving comments on my chat this morning. I just ended up blocking him. No troll. I'll let some trolls in the comment and chat so y'all can have fun with them. But the troll channels, the leaders of the trolls, I'm blocking them. So Frauditor Troll will be blocked. Andre Sloan will be blocked. First Amendment Shenanigans. Fraudit Wrangler, well, he's in jail, so it doesn't matter. So all the little cult leaders, the little cult leading trolls, Their channels will be blocked from my channel. Their trolls can come in and comment as long as they're not insightful or hateful. You know, if they just want to talk smack, let them talk smack. Helps the algorithm. I don't really care. I'm just not going to let these troll channel leaders, cult leaders, I'm calling them cult leaders because that's what they are. They're brainwashed, bootlicking, cop sucking trolls. And I'm not going to permit them in my chats. I don't go to their chats and say anything. Hell, I don't even subscribe to any of these trolls. Frauditor troll, I don't even subscribe to that dude. I unsubscribe from all the trolls because I don't really care. Once I got hit on a troll channel back in November, I don't even pay attention to them anymore. Because once you get hit once, it doesn't matter. This guy's been here, 10 minutes now. Or no, it's been here damn near 15 minutes. So he's, just to let you know, he's burning fuel, sitting there. He's wasting tax-paying dollars, sitting there. Most likely dodging calls. He's not pulling over any speeders. He's not over in the school zone, making sure nobody's running the school zone. No, I didn't take your wrench for going to jail. I took a lot of people's wrenches, Dub Wubs. Anybody that was like a supporter of Tab, I took their wrench. Because they were coming in here and blocking my people that were speaking out against Tab. So I took those wrenches. People were let their feelings get involved because they supported somebody. And bro, I even let Tav come in here and talk shit. I don't think Tav is a troll. I mean, I think he trolls a little bit, but I don't think he's a troll. I mean, there's nothing wrong with trolling somebody, but, you know, when you are a troll, that's a different story. Oh. What's going on, Carrie Freds? Like I said, we're just watching this cop right here till something happens. Like I said, I got to be somewhere at 9 this morning, so. Dude, I don't even care about wrenches, man. You know, Chuck Bronson took my wrench, and I didn't get mad about it. Too much responsibility, man. I got too much shit to be doing. It was great in the beginning when I didn't have a whole lot of things to do, and I could sit there and watch everybody's live streams and watch everybody's videos, and I ain't got time for all that stuff. Just because you have a wrench taken doesn't mean that you know that I don't like you. It just means that I did it for the benefit of the channel. I don't need moderators fighting with each other. I don't need people being blocked because, you know, they voiced one opinion about somebody. Like I said, this channel here, it's the way I'm trying to do the chat is like free speech, man. You incite violence, which would be considered disorderly conduct, yeah, you're out of the channel. You start personally attacking me and spreading false lies, you're out of here, because that's defamation. You know, basically that's how the chat's gonna be. Personal insults, I don't really care. But, you know, it's if you got a troll channel, you come in, you start talking trash, you just get blocked. I'm not gonna have the cult leaders come in here. Man, this guy is definitely. Yeah, I was just getting ready to say that, KCA. Like, man, that dude is sitting there forever. All right. I'm not done with him yet, guys. I'm going to have a little bit of fun. Let's see if we can get him back to work. I love doing this to the coppers. What's going on? Yeah, I was just trying to see if we had any calls this morning. Anything. What do we got going on? Who am I? Wow, they can't be public servants. They got to sit here and get defensive when you ask a simple question. 20 minutes of call dodging sitting here in the parking lot. Got it all on a camera, buddy. So, are we going to get some calls answered? What's your name? What's your name? You call me good citizen. Okay, good citizen. So, I was just asking what calls you had because you've been sitting here for 20 minutes. I was trying to be cordial. I've been sitting here for 20 minutes, actually. So. Live stream started 21 minutes and 47 seconds ago, back when you rolled for 3 miles with your back lights on. Oh, yeah, I did have I was on an accident earlier. I saw that. I was going to... Daylight happens, and I forget that they're on. I just wanted you to be the cordial, man. I didn't want you to get all defensive. I was just coming to see if... Here's the thing. And I'll talk to you like a human being, right? So in my job, right, we never know what's going to happen. We never know who people are when they roll up, especially when they roll up to us like that, because we've had plenty of... I can show you proof time and time again that officers have been ambushed and assassinated off of stuff just like that. Man, so you ain't got to tell me about the whole officers. Too, right? I know, but that's where you got to, that's the one thing we're trying to change the culture with the police department. Okay. Is y'all can't look at every one of us as a threat. I challenge you to do this then. Go through our Citizens Academy. I've been through the police academy, man. Okay. So and I don't mean a Citizens Academy. I mean a full-on accredited academy like yourself. Okay. I have been on the West Coast. Oh, on the West Coast? Yep. Licensed out here or just out there? Nope. This was up back in 2008. So I've been through the whole thing. I get the whole officer safety thing. But here's the thing about that. So see how I'm having a conversation with you now that I know what you're about and what you're doing, right? Yeah, before but that, I'm not going to act like that because I have no idea. But then once it's the same as a traffic stop. I pulled somebody over in a traffic stop. I don't know if they're a murderer. I don't know if they just robbed a bank or they're just mom going to go pick up her kids. I have no idea. But I have to expect the worst. And then once I create that conversation and I kind of get a feel, and then okay. But see, expecting the worst like that causes you guys in the culture, your department, to escalate before there's even an escalation. I don't believe so, man. I thought that was an escalation when I pulled up just to ask you cordially. I wasn't being defensive or. But I don't know you. That's the whole point. But I'm still a citizen. Okay, but I can show you, Tom. I can show you evidence of people coming up and starting conversations like that, and then pulling out a gun and assassinating officers. But how do I know that that's the case? But let me ask you this: that escalation, is it because you're already defensive already, and we've picked up on that, so we've gotten defensive and it escalates? I could see that. I could, but I'm not going to change. But see how I tried to bring your demeanor down, and once you did, my demeanor. It's on the same level as yours. Right, but it's not, but you understand though it's not normal behavior for somebody to pull up like that, right? It's not. So it's not I see it all. For something, dude, I've been doing this job for 16 years. It's not normal behavior. So when somebody does that, of course I'm going to be on guard right away because I don't know. And once I have that conversation and we open up the dialogue, then I can let. But I understand that guard of maybe something happening, but your demeanor doesn't have to be. So the officers that immediately come up, hey man, what's going on with you, like that, and then they get assassinated. What do they think? What do they say? What happens to that? What's the excuse? They can't. But can I ask you a valid question? Can I ask you a valid question? Absolutely. Okay, because I like to have a conversation. I love having a conversation. My whole question is, when was the last time that one of Fort Worth PD's finest was ever assassinated? Assassinated? Like you're talking about. Sure. Probably never. But whenever if you're going to play that card,
So the small town that had an officer assassinated, when's the last time they had one? Never, until then. So how do you play that card? You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. I don't know. But I'll sit down and have a conversation with anybody and everybody once I know what they're about, if they're willing to do that.
But
like, if you would have kept going with your camera and all that stuff and done what I've seen a lot of these, what they call cop block, and I'm not saying you are, but with some of these things, because I've been involved in some of those before, where it's been in a crowd control situation, you got so much to deal with and so much to be aware of, and they're in your face distracting you. That's an issue for me, because it's a safety thing. I don't know what people are going to do. I don't. And people can change their mind like that. So that's the other thing I have to be aware of. But then, if you want to have a sit-down conversation and we can talk like human beings, dude, I love it. I'll do that all day. And I wish people would do more of that, because then maybe they could understand where we're coming from also with civilians. Because I was a civilian before I was a cop. I did military before I was a cop.
Same here.
I got family.
Same here.
My wife, who's a teacher of special ed. So I know that there's a different mindset. We have conversations all the time. But understand, when you do this job, it's not easy, brother. It's not.
You know what? You as an officer, make it as hard as the job is. You can also make it as easy as the job is.
I try to make it as easy as I can, but I still want to go home at night. And I don't know. That's the thing. I don't know.
Well, most officers are not killed by gunfire. They're killed by accidents, standing on the side of the road.
Right. Absolutely.
The last time I've ever seen anybody hurt an officer holding a camera has never happened.
No, I don't think there is happening.
Not with a camera.
You didn't pull up with the camera until
after. I had my camera. I had my camera here though.
Well, I know that, but you didn't have it in your hand and all that, because if that would have been, if immediately you would have come up, what are you doing sitting here, officer? Why are you over here? And I'm like, okay.
Well, that's why I came up cordially, just asking what you had going on in the screen, because
I asked you, can I help you?
That's why I said, what do you got going on? And then when you got defensive, now there's a call. See, I jinxed you.
Yeah, you did. But earlier there's pretty much nothing except an accident that I just got done working, which is why my lights were on.
But and I understood that. I was actually going to pull up next to you over there and let you know your lights were still on.
I would have appreciated that, because I went for a minute with that.
You went for a good you went for a good while with those lights, and that's why I was following you down.
Have the system where it would beep, so if you left it on, it would beep. But these new ones, they don't do that.
Because I saw the other officer go the other direction over the highway.
Yeah, she went to go do the report.
Yeah, she was in unit, I believe, 500. I pay attention to everything. Am I one of those First Amendment auditors you call? Yes, I am. But I also have a different approach.
Yeah, I appreciate, and then that's what I would love to do, is have a conversation, but a cordial conversation, not one that's one-sided or the other.
But
I'm absolutely open to, like, when you're making suggestions about when's anybody with a camera ever assassinated an officer. Well, you're right. Most officers get killed in accidents or hit on the freeway. You're right.
And the thing is, that's when their guard is more focused about the person instead of everybody else driving. It shouldn't be on people. The thing is, if you came up to me and told me, and this is more normal people, and Fort Worth PD has a culture of assaulting first and asking questions later. I know I've got 3 things going on where I'm getting ready to slam y'all with a big old lawsuit. Happened over in West Division. So it's not just Central that's bad. You know, Central's got a bad rap too.
Do you think that the bigger the city, the more you're going to have kind of officers that maybe not necessarily that are bad, but just maybe...
It goes to the culture. I'm going to go with the culture, because if it goes unchecked and you are trained bad and you have bad habits, I'm going to leave it at that, bad habits, just like in the military. If you go with bad habits and you go unchecked, you're going to continue your career with that. And then what's going to happen is you're going to train somebody else those same bad habits. So somebody that you got coming in that wants to do good, that wants to be that guy, who wants to make a difference.
I would argue with you a little bit on that I don't think it's as bad as you're saying it is, but I would say that their culture from before. But I would say, because I'm involved in training heavily, and I'm a huge advocate of this, having a conversation, talking to people, treating people like human beings, and having more empathy than worrying about doing your job as far as like by the numbers. But I also say that people are human, they have bad days. Are there officers that slip through cracks? In a larger department, you're going to have more.
I hate to say this, but as an officer dealing with the public, you can't have a bad day.
I wish that were true.
You can't. It's something that you are not allowed to do. It's just like with your feelings. You can't wear them on your sleeve.
Yep, I agree.
And
let me ask you this. When you are surrounded by negativity 24/7, or not even 24/7. Let's say 4 days a week, 10 hours a day, and because people don't call us to say, hey, officer, I just want you to know you're doing a great job. Thank you. Thank you for doing what you do. I appreciate you. That's why I called you. Every call we have has something to do with somebody having a bad day. It's the worst day of their life. Somebody needs us to fix something. It's negative. Every bit of it is negative.
Okay, I get where you're going with that.
You have a human being that's around that all the time. And that's when I'd say also about challenging why officers act the way they do with demeanor. Well, could we try to change that? Absolutely.
What's your last name again?
Guadarrama.
Holy shit, I can't say that, dude. You got a first name?
I do, but I don't really give it out. But it's Guad. They call me Guad.
Guad, okay.
Yeah, that's the easiest way.
Okay, if you don't mind.
ID's 3962.
Guad is fine. I just wanted to address you by your last name, but it's too damn long for me to pronounce.
I know. I took a minute to learn it.
But my question is this. You talk about all the negativity, right? Okay. Wouldn't the simplest solution be to go find a better career? Something else that's not surrounding the negativity?
So who's going to do it?
The person that wants to be around the negativity, because...
What I'm saying, though, is that I don't believe that we're not allowed to have bad days, right? Should we take better steps in which we are? And I'll tell you this, I don't want to get too off of where I'm going with, but Fort Worth PD has made leaps and bounds compared to other agencies when they talk about taking care of officers, so that the product that they put out towards the public is better. With our wellness unit, with the stuff that we're doing, with keeping track of...
I agree with that wellness unit, but let me stop you. I got a lot of friends that are ex-cops and whistleblowers.
Okay.
Nobody goes and gets the help from the wellness, because once you do, you're off the department. You're 50
so
150.
That was the other concept too, because I'm involved with that also, peer support and all that. That was the old way. There you go, talking about the breaking some of those old ways or those old habits. Where we are forefronting huge, because it's completely anonymous and kept secret. That unit has a non-disclosure agreement with anybody that comes to them and uses services.
Now, go on. Let me ask you that. I don't want to get off topic, but you said you're a field training officer, right?
Yes.
Okay, so I want to ask you some questions, and I'm not trying to put you on the spot,
Okay.
but we're having a conversation. Sure. Do you know the failure to identify statute 3802?
I don't know by word. No.
Okay.
But I know in the offense, if it's a failure to identify, so let me explain this to you. There are so many laws and so many statutes and government code and everything that we deal with. Mm-hmm. It is extremely hard and difficult for anybody to memorize any of that.
The only reason there's 4 statutes that I have memorized, and the reason I have those is because those are the 4 you go to every single time.
Okay.
It's going to be interference. Mm-hmm. So it's going to be I believe it's 38.15, okay. Interference. And then you got 30.05, which is trespassing. You got 2 people coming up to you right now.
Can I help you? Yes. Okay. Did you call? Okay. You can actually, if it's something that's not dire need or anything like right now, you can actually call the non-emergency number and make a report. What is it? What happened?
Since I walked in our bathroom, took our dolly, took all our candy.
Here, I'll give you the number. It's 817-392-4222.
Yeah, it's super easy. And you can actually make that report.
817-392-4222. It's pretty bad that I know that, right?
Hey, you know what? I wish everybody did, though. If they do, they're a third-party company that monitors that, and they would have to see it, figure out what's going on, and then call us, and then we would have to call it and all that. So there's a process. But yeah, that non-emergency number, if you want to report the theft, just to do a report on it, you can call that and make it over the phone if you want to.
They'll do that, and they may have a detective come out or somebody to look at everything.
Yeah, then they'll want that.
Yeah, the detectives are going to want to do that, because the thing is, these guys are mainly for like the crime in progress or like right now. So for detected crimes already happened, yeah.
So everything's listed by priority. And if it's not active, like he's saying, goes lower in the priority. So everything that's higher gets the priority.
That's why you're better off calling, letting the detective just kind of. Yeah.
Anything that's not active, anything like that, you just make a report on, and then they follow up with you, especially if you have video evidence or something like that. Maybe there's a string of it, maybe it's related to other ones that are similar. There's all kinds of stuff that they would do.
May hate to shove you like that, but I've dealt with Fort Worth PD for so long. That's unfortunately the reality of things. So But yeah, that's the way I would do it. It's just called a non-emergency. Tell them you need to file a report there was a theft at your store, and that you needed like a detective or somebody to come out. You got video surveillance of it, and I guarantee you somebody will probably be out today or tomorrow to just make sure you save that footage, because I know a lot of times they're on loops and they'll get deleted. So make sure you save it.
Yep. There you go. All right, yeah, no problem. Y'all take care of your day. All right.
But yeah, like I said, I didn't know what was going on, but I figured they were walking up on, you know.
No, I appreciate that. Absolutely, 100%.
Now my question to you is that the reason, and then failure to identify interference, trespassing, and disorderly conduct. And the one thing I've learned is that you guys do not know what disorderly conduct is. That's
You mean like disturbing the peace,
Fort Worth.
fighting, or
They think because I tell you, say, fuck you. Oh, you offended me. It's disorderly
they can't
conduct.
be offended. They can't do that. They
No,
have
but
to
even if I
respect
tell,
the witness.
but even if I tell somebody that and they're offended, that's not disorderly conduct. It's not what the statute says.
Well, it's disorderly conduct language, and that's a city ordinance.
No. So the 42.15, a person commits an offense if they intentionally use abusive, indecent, profane, and/or vulgar language, and by its mere utterance tends to incite an immediate breach of the peace. That means that if I'm giving you fighting words, which fighting words doctrine plus the incitement word doctrine, basically if I tell you fuck off, those aren't fighting words.
No.
But
But you said if you're telling somebody fuck you,
that's not fighting words.
well, but it's
Now, if I'm in their face and I'm pointing a finger,
yeah, like you're trying to fight them.
that's
in
provoking.
my experience, I mean that's a good example. But in my experience, I have yet to have somebody that, or at least I have not ever written a disorderly conduct language ticket except for once, and that was when I was young.
Okay, well then go talk to Officer Andrew Cobb over on West Division. It was post-manufactured on me after I got snatched off a public sidewalk without being told I was detained or arrested after I was told to free to go. I was arrested for contempt of cop, was what I was. He got pissed off. And
POP.
yep, POP, pissing off police, exactly. See, that's my whole point. The field training officer is the one that came up with the charge, you know, and
I can't speak to anything that's happened before, and I'm not going to. I wouldn't do that.
I'm just saying with the culture is what I'm saying. It's like the field training officers training the new people. And then I've got it on body camera where the supervisor, Andrew Cobb, and Christopher Morgan are all sitting there conspiring to cover up because they fucked up my hands, threw me in cuffs for 40 minutes in the back of the car, and then let me go with a citation, you know, after the fact. And it wasn't even the reason why they were there to begin with. So there was no articulated facts to detain me. And if you're going to put someone in handcuffs, okay, that's an arrest. According to your policy, it's an arrest.
No, it's not. It's not.
Your policy
It's a
clearly.
detention. It doesn't I could put anybody in custody.
Can I ask you this question? And I just want to give you food for thought. I'm not trying to beat you up.
No,
I'm just in conversation.
Yeah, you're good.
Where does it state in Terry v. Ohio that I have to go in handcuffs?
You don't have to.
A temporary detention, okay, is basically me not being free to go so you can investigate whether there's a crime that happens.
Okay.
An arrest happens, whether it be custodial arrest or in the field, when my movement to freely move around more, put me in the back seat of a car in your custody where I'm not free to go, that is an arrest.
And by what definition?
A, by your policy, and by legal definition in the court of law.
Okay, so if somebody, because I've done this plenty of times, and it's because it's an officer safety issue, because I don't know them. If I'm by myself and I have multiple people.
But that's what Terry v. Ohio's for, is to do a pat down. See, if you detain me,
But if I put you in handcuffs, what's the difference?
you're going to do the pat down afterwards. Now it's an arrest. Now, if you tell me to,
I can do a pat down on anybody.
Right.
If I'm by myself and I can articulate the reason.
but if you can do all that and you do a pat down, then now I'm no longer a threat with a weapon.
No, you're correct. But I don't. Do
Then
that
there's no
when-
reason I need to be in handcuffs.
Somebody could just be as violent, if not just as dangerous, without a weapon.
But what's the pat down for?
For a weapon. But could a person be a weapon?
It could be, but you don't. But here's the thing: you don't know what happened. You can't go by what ifs. You're not by hunches. You can't do
But
that.
You're giving me what ifs.
You're hitting me with the what ifs. I'm just hitting
I know,
you.
but I'm just hitting it back because it's devil's advocate, right?
I,
And we're both playing.
I get that, but I'm not saying I'm not saying a what if on case law. I'm telling you what the case law says. The case law is not based on this.
Okay.
Problem is, people are too quick to put people in handcuffs.
I don't necessarily see.
And when you put people in handcuffs, guess what happens? Now you got a fight situation.
Maybe. That depends on the person who's
You're
doing
always
it.
going to know, because they're always going to tense up, and then you're going to sit there and say, stop resisting, whether they're resisting or not, or they're tensing
I
up.
still think that that's up to the individual. You know what I mean?
But there's a lot
I
of-
would handle things way differently. Even if I put you in handcuffs, I would still handle that differently than other people, because I'm not, maybe my level of training or experience, or maybe what I've been through, what I've been done outside of being a cop.
But how many times have you lied to someone and said, you're being detained, I'm putting handcuffs, oh, you're only being detained. The minute the handcuffs, oh, you're under arrest. See, that's a lie.
But do you think that being able to put them in handcuffs safer by telling them that, hey,
No,
you're detained?
because you're violating the law. Here's the thing.
So then if I tell somebody they're under arrest,
I'm going to put my hands out front, and you're going to tell me, no, most people will.
Sir,
Most people will.
Again, I do a ride along in mid.
I have. I've done, dude, I've done them in various cities, and I'm going to tell you right now. If the majority of people, I'm not saying all, the majority, okay, you tell someone they're detained and not free to go, they might ask why. They want to know why they're not free. Once you explain, see, what people are scared of, what they don't know. If you explain what's going on, most people can, okay, cool. That,
I would absolutely agree with you there.
and then it's,
Absolutely agree.
if you inform people so they can make educated decisions, it's like this: you're under arrest. I know now that if I resist or I run, I'm catching more charges. I'm going to catch evading and resisting.
And I have personal experience and knowledge with this, that I've done that before, and it has gone bad because they don't care. They don't care.
So let me ask you this.
Then
So
it
you're,
becomes more of an issue. So then when I use the other tactic of, hey man, no, hey, you're not under arrest. Look, not right now. I'm just trying to figure things out. But for right now, you're detained. You can't go. You're not free to go yet. We got to figure some stuff out here and put you in handcuffs back in my car. Hey, once we figure everything's out, we'll get you out of here.
so let me ask you this. So you're willing to violate somebody's rights
That's
for
not
your
violating
for
anything,
your
but
for
I
your
can
safety
articulate the
for your safety, because Don, regardless, because you're not articulating an arrest, you're articulating a detention. There's a difference.
Okay.
You go in those handcuffs behind your back, that's an arrest. Okay. If you tell someone you're not free to go, that's a detention. Whether you sit on the curb, which I don't agree with, but if you got 2 or 3 people and you're by yourself, I can maybe understand that, because you got to control, and you can kind of watch the body language and see if someone's going to try to flee. That's the reason for the handcuffs, is because if they start to flee and they're a flight risk, you're under arrest for evading. It doesn't matter.
Would you not put somebody in handcuffs if you were just one-on-one?
No, there's no reason for it. Not unless
Have you ever been in a fight with somebody one-on-one?
oh man, yes I have.
Does it suck?
It sucks for the other
You think
person.
you end up getting hurt?
No, I've never lost a fight. Now I do carefully watch and I also try to make sure I de-escalate everything I'm involved in. I try not to escalate, because I know I may not win a fight, and that day hasn't come yet, but it could. I don't work on ifs, so I always try to play it situation by situation. I also am never the first one to throw a blow, but I can see it coming. And the thing is, I'm reading the body language, and a lot of you guys get the sales training in the academy. That's why you guys ask for ID. This is why you ask and request. You're not demanding until it becomes a lawful order. You got to.
You think even though I could demand it, by asking, I can get better compliance, right?
I think, yes, for those people that you ask whether you have the right to demand it or not, most people will give it up because they feel it's implied demand. That's what the sales tactics are for. That's why you do that, hoping that they give it up free, because you're not violating somebody's rights. But when you can articulate, like, do you know there's only 2 times that you're required to give ID. You know that, right?
Sometimes it's required.
Give ID to a law enforcement officer. Do you know those 2 times?
Yeah, when you're under arrest for a crime or investigation.
No, when you're under arrest. It's lawfully arrested, you have to give up ID. And the other time is
Or
if you're detained in a motor vehicle because you violated a transportation code.
an offensive view, but still but you have an arrestable offense other than what?
But what I'm saying is during a detention, other than a traffic stop, other than the operator of a motor vehicle, 3802 says you have to be lawfully arrested to have to give up ID. Now, if I am detained and I give you false or fictitious information, then I can be charged with that. And most officers think just because you're detained, that's why Officer Morgan stated on camera that he put me in handcuffs and detained me because I refused to give ID. I was well within my right. You had no arrestable offense. You didn't even have enough for reasonable articulable suspicion. Failure to identify is a secondary offense. And that's what I'm trying to explain to officers that don't understand it.
Yeah.
You know, it avoids the unlawful detention, the unlawful seizure of papers. It violates a lawsuit. The other thing, too, is the trespassing. I've seen too many officers try to demand ID for a criminal trespass warning.
Yep. Yep.
I don't have to give you my name. I don't have to. You can't detain me for a warning. Now, if I'm on the property and they're like, I want him gone, and I'm not leaving, now you have criminal trespass, you have probable cause. There's no reason for a detention on a warning. See, it seems like you know a little bit of that, and I wish more officers would.
Well, but a lot of that too, I think, is it's very hard to teach everybody everything. And even if you do teach everybody everything, what do you retain? You know what I mean? Like, I've been doing the job for 16 years. So even some of the questions you're asking, I don't know either. I've been doing it for 16 years because I don't come across it and I don't ever deal with it or whatever the case may be. But the ones that I do, like criminal trespass, whatever, yeah.
The four ones you always come across are going to be those four: interference,
Yeah.
failure to identify.
So then my question would be is what level of training or experience are the officers that you've dealt with have, right?
I've dealt with
out of the academy a couple of years, maybe not.
I've dealt with everything from 30 days out of the academy to 23 years on the job. And they
Is it quite a wide variety?
yes.
Yeah. I mean, and that's my point though. Again, when whoever the officer is, based on whatever the circumstances, everything's going to be different, right? It's the same thing as us going to a call. I can go to the same house, the same location, dealing with the same people about the same thing, and it will be different from any other time I've ever gone there because of everything changes.
Now let me ask you another question. And I'm only throwing scenarios at you because I'm just trying to test your knowledge. Because like I said, it's like talking to a wall with most officers with Fort Worth PD or other departments.
Sure.
And like I said, I like to have conversation, as you can tell. Now, if you get a call for service, and I'm just throwing a hypothetical at you. If you get a call for service, is that enough for investigative detention?
Depends on what the call was about. It depends. If I get a description of somebody that's on somebody's property, they don't know who they are, and I get there and the person matches the description that's given, then yes, I can detain them off reasonable suspicion because of the caller.
You're actually missing one element.
Sure.
You haven't talked to the complainant physically and actually gotten to see if that person's credible. Because you can get a
I don't need that. This is where the
Supreme
officer
Court
has-
ruling of Florida versus JL in 2000. Yes, you do.
Okay.
There was
Until they tell me that I can't do that, then I will do that because I'm not going to sit there and see the person that was described in the call, let them go, or have them walk off when I show
understand
up,
that.
and then later find out something.
Let me give you the facts of that case, okay? Let me give you the facts of Florida versus JL. It's a Supreme Court ruling. So that's how Terry v. Ohio started. Because this one's actually an extension of Terry v. Ohio. It all starts from Terry v. Ohio, okay? So you already know about reasonable articulable suspicion, okay? So what that is somebody called and said there is a black kid wearing this plaid shirt, this description, at this bus stop, and he has a gun. The cops roll up, draw down, pat him down, find a gun. He's a 15-year-old black boy, okay? Full description. Gets convicted. Unlawful carry of firearm. Goes all the way to the Supreme Court. 9-0 in favor of the defendant. Overturned. They didn't have, based on a call, based on a description, did not have enough. They didn't check to see the call with the complaint, whether it was credible. And two, they didn't observe the person with any suspicion in that behavior.
So I have zero issue with the response, the detention, the pat down to find the gun for safety. So what should have happened, what I'm hearing probably didn't happen, is they found the complainant. They asked what was going on, why was this, why was that, because then they could do a suspect case, tag the gun, and then probably nothing happened of it rather than go to court.
Well, what they could have done was talk to the complainant and got the story, at least on one side, right?
Yeah.
Gone to the kid at the bus stop in a consensual conversation.
But why okay. So that, and I guess that's where the difference of opinion based on experience.
In a consent.
I'm not going to take that risk.
You
I
may,
wouldn't tell any officer to take that.
and you would lose your
Not a chance.
qualified immunity over it.
Huh?
You would lose your qualified immunity over it.
On what?
On that, in that particular case, those officers who got sued lost their qualified immunity.
Well, that's been an issue around this.
Well, when you do that under color of law, it now becomes 3903, oppression, official oppression in Texas, or a federal crime. So,
On the call details, okay. Well, I mean, I guess
all
I'll
I'm
do
saying
that
is
when
it could
comes.
be, it could,
I'm not gonna change that tactic.
I'm just
not letting
saying,
anybody
I'm
take
just
advantage
saying,
of
and
it.
see, that's where I'm trying to get rid of the thought process, because not every, just because he has a gun, doesn't mean he waved it, doesn't mean he brandished it, it
How
doesn't
do they
mean,
know he's got a gun?
that's the whole point of going talking to the complainant to see what the,
Okay.
but you know what? What if I was open carrying and someone said I have a gun?
Uh-huh.
It's not enough to detain me. I've got a gun on my hip.
It's enough to come up and talk to you, right?
It's a consensual conversation.
And to disarm
You can't disarm me unless I have reasonable articulable suspicion of to
that you're
do
doing
to do a
something,
pat
right?
down. Y'all.
Why would somebody call somebody that?
So you're saying anybody you see walking down the road open carry, which is lawful in Texas, you can walk up.
Depends on the call. That's what I'm saying. Like if they're saying, "Hey, there's a dude walking around with a gun," and
You
it's
have
on
to
a
have
suspect,
you
I'm
have
not
to
gonna
meet
do anything.
you have to meet the elements, or you're doing it all wrong. You're violating people's
Right,
rights.
listen to me for 1 second. If somebody's walking down the street, somebody calls because we have it. It's in Texas, right? So somebody calls, "Hey, there's a guy. He's got a gun on his hip. He's walking around the store." Okay. So I can go and make a consensual encounter, right? Making sure I have enough officers first of all. Make sure I can come up there. "Hey, man, you doing all right? We got a call. Is everything good? You got a license for that? Whatever the case may be. If you don't need one, you don't need one in Texas anyways now. So if he's not doing anything wrong, because there's been times we don't even talk to him, like they're just on the sidewalk. It's not illegal.
It's not.
Right?
Now if they want the person to leave,
Now you're
now-
getting into something else.
now you're getting into
That's
reasonable.
what I'm saying. Like the calls, the details have that part of it is important to us. Now, do we know that details aren't always 100% correct? Absolutely, 100% correct. Now, do I still take that for face value as much as possible? Because why would somebody else call? If somebody's calling because they're calling in a false report, well then we'll deal with that. But if they're calling because something happened, why would they call?
But the false reports never get handled with. You know why?
Why?
When I do my audits and people call, I'm on a public sidewalk recording.
Okay.
They're making false claims to try to get you guys there quicker. You guys show up and like, well, he's just trying to agitate. What about that guy who just made a false complaint to get you there?
Have you tried to press charges?
Yeah, I've asked. Cops don't do anything. Thing is,
Do you think that some people have given you guys a bad name too?
oh, absolutely. I know what two names you're going to mention. I already know.
Look, and that's another thing too. When you talk about changing culture in officers, well, how about changing culture of people that? Because if people acted like you and want to audit us, I'd have full respect and be like, hey, let's have a.
Do you know I've had officers literally 5 feet away from me while I've been recording because they know I'm no threat?
Yeah.
There's officers that know who I am up on the north side and come up and say my name and give me fist bumps and tell me what's going on.
Yeah.
Then other officers just act like I'm just public enemy number one because there's a camera.
Again, perception, right, and human being reaction.
Do it.
A human being acts differently.
But let me ask you this.
Your job, act differently. Right?
Absolutely. But what I'm saying is, you guys work for the government. You have a set of rules that you guys are supposed to, just like I have to follow the law. You're supposed to follow policy and law. Okay? But I watch half of you guys almost run people over because I've almost been a victim of getting ran over by a Fort Worth cop. Okay?
Sirens or nothing?
He was running lights, but he wasn't going anywhere but to the damn Quick Trip, quarter block away. Because I caught up to him and then he escalated and I called the supervisor.
Okay. Was he going to get a drink or was he going to a call?
It's your boy Justice. You guys know over there. Central, Justice, the guy that got written up for threatening to tase someone in the dick. Yeah, shit like that. Okay, look, I'm telling you, bro. Look, it's if you guys were doing it right, and you guys were, and I don't want to say that you're being trained wrong, but I'm sure that a lot of it has to do with training as well. Okay. But it also goes back to the culture of the supervisors allowing you guys to go unchecked. These whole spot checks of body cameras or denying requests of body cam footage or muting mics during an investigation. But my case, they're talking to a victim and witness clearly. I saw the video in Discovery. They mute the mic twice while they're talking. That's conspiracy because you're not supposed to have it muted when you're talking to a victim or a witness.
Were these the old body cams or the?
No, this just all happened in November, man.
Well, I just barely got mine, but so the old one you could mute, and I am guilty of it too. I would mute it, the sidebar, and then I would forget.
You know what I'm saying? I say don't mute the mics. Let dispatch.
Anymore. Now, the only way to mute it is to hold it down. The minute you let it go, it starts.
Because I think records, if it's something that needs to be redacted before it's released, records should be able to redact that based on the Public Information Act, not you guys.
I wish it was that simple, but the process for that is a pain in the ass too.
It's only when it's requested. If it's not requested, then there's no reason to go in and redact it. Because what happens if it needs to be in discovery? What you said about what you were talking about needs to go in a courtroom. Because it's investigated. How do I know you're not conspiring to do something?
I mean,
How do I know though? I don't.
right. But I would argue also is like when we put two suspects next to each other, what they're talking to each other, could they be conspiring?
Absolutely.
Case, right? But
Absolutely. That's why you guys always separate the suspects.
Right. And I do understand where you're coming from because we have a higher standard that we have to follow. Right?
You were in the military like I was.
Yeah.
We are always set at a higher standard.
No, I understand that, and I don't necessarily disagree with you on that. I don't, and that's again, I stopped muting my stuff anyways, but
it causes too much.
I've been guilty of it before. I mean, it's.
But see,
I
here's.
don't know your circumstance and what you're talking about.
No, you'll see it come out. You'll see it come out. You'll see it come out. My whole thing is, like I said, I'm not against cops. I'm against bad cops and the ones that are doing it wrong, not because they're bad, because the culture's bad. I'm hoping that maybe I can change their thought a little bit. I want you to go safe at home, home every shift. I don't want you to have an end of shift where it ends up bad. I don't want anybody to get harmed. I'm not a hateful person where I wish something bad happens to somebody. I don't want to see people get put in cages and handcuffs and tortured. My hands were messed up because he put them on wrong. He didn't double lock them. I'm a big guy. I should have been put on 2 cuffs. I wasn't resisting. I told him on video, I'm not resisting. I knew where he was going, but he never told me I was being detained or arrested. He just put hands on and then hit my camera out of my hand and said, I'm not playing these fucking games with you. Okay? It's all on camera. Bottom line is, an officer should not be to that point.
I don't know. Again, I can't speak to.
Let me ask you this. If you wanted me to leave a situation so you can move on to a call, and I told you 3 or 4 times already, give me the CAD number, I'll be more than happy to leave. Wouldn't the easiest solution...
Do you have anything to do with the call?
Yeah, I was the subject of the call. There was no crime.
For the CAD number?
All I asked was, can I get the CAD number? I'd be more than happy to leave.
No, I mean, you're asking for the CAD
They
number.
called the cops on me.
Oh, the person called the cops on you, and you're asking for the CAD
Yep,
number.
he's already talked to the complainant like he's supposed to do. He's coming over to talk to me. I told him what happened. He wanted me to leave the area, which I had every right to be at. All I asked, though, is said I'd be more than happy to leave. I wasn't going to run because they called the cops on you.
And again,
Wouldn't the easiest, but I'm just saying, wouldn't the easiest way to de-escalate, say, all right, come over to my car, which is away from where we're at, parked 100 yards away, and say, let me get you the CAD number. And then once you give me the CAD number, now you're expecting me to leave. And if I'm not leaving, now I'm a liar, right? So, but if I
see that. I mean, I know what I would have done.
the officer escalated because through his words, he kept escalating. All he had to do was just at any time say, I don't want to deal with this shit. If I give you the CAD number, are you just going to leave like you said you are? If I say yes, then you're going to expect me to just leave so you can move on with your day and your next call.
I would challenge you, sir, to open up more conversations like this.
I tried, but
some of those people, some of those younger officers.
Those younger officers are actually more open to the conversation. Yes. They watch a lot of videos online. They're seeing these First Amendment audits. I think you can learn something from watching these videos. Now, there are some people out there that...
No, I know. I mean, I would expect, maybe you're right. Maybe some of the older officers that have been here for years. But like, I've been here 16 years, but of course, maybe I've been through a lot different things.
You're in that middle bracket where you've got the newer officers and you got the older officers. Because 16 years, it's like I said, I like to have the conversations, but a lot of times, you guys have got that stupid ass memo that, don't engage with the First Amendment auditors. You know what?
Well, I'll back myself on on that one too. Like if I was dealing with a call, like let's say I was talking to them about the theft and you came up, well then yeah, I'm gonna have a different attitude. But I'm gonna be more like, hey man, let me finish this and I'll be more than happy to talk to you. If you just wait over there for me, I'll come and talk to you. Let me finish with them.
And that's what we're looking for. We're not getting that. We're getting that.
Get out of here.
Get out of here. I'm gonna charge you with interference, and then you're taking the focus away from the person you got in front of you.
No, I understand.
Me, I try to give you about 25 feet. I try to hear what's going on. I don't interject unless you start overstepping on me. If you just do your job, I'm just gonna sit there and document.
So you said something interesting about you wanted to try to hear what's going on, but what if something was private? What if something?
Depends on the situation. Where if you're telling me, hey man, I'm dealing with a child, or I'm dealing with something medical here, or something like that, I'm gonna try to give you a few more feet because I don't want to put that on the air with.
That would be my concern.
You know, but here's the thing, like with Carolina and Fort Worth, okay? I know her personally, okay? And I will tell you this, most officers treat her like shit before she has a chance to even go off.
I would tell you I have first-hand experience of trying to do this, and she just blows the F up. And it became something that it didn't have to. And from that point on, I've had a different view.
I'll tell you right now, don't have a different view. Just, you know, if you're dealing with something, walk over to her. Tell her, look.
Well, she came up in everybody's business and face, started yelling and screaming, you can't do this, you can't be over here, you're harassing.
How long ago was that?
Oh, years ago.
Years ago?
Yeah.
There's a little bit of a difference with her now. So if you walk over and you tell her, hey, look, just let me deal with this, I'll come over and tell you what's going on. That way you don't have to deal with her assuming what's going on. You don't have to have her interject into what's going on because she knows what's going on. She's not trying to intervene with you. And that's what the thing is. You got to remember, we're trying to figure out what's going on. If you don't want to be that officer to, yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. I was going to ask you earlier. Can I ask why you want to get involved in what's going on? Is it for us, or is it because you just want to know? Like, I'm just curious.
Well, it's
like, are y'all trying to be media?
That's exactly what it is, at least for most of us. Okay, my whole thing is I want to report. So if you're dealing with a domestic, okay, and you tell me, hey, I've got a domestic here, can you just hang back, let me deal with this? Then I'm going to sit there and go, okay, he's dealing with the domestic, which could be dangerous. Let me not be an issue for him. Let me just stand back here and document. That way, if something goes down, whether in your favor or not your favor, I'm playing devil's advocate. Because what does your body camera pick up? It doesn't pick up half of what it should.
No, it definitely has.
It's a fish eye. But if I've got a third-person view back here, I'm getting the whole shot of what is going on. And I'm the type of person that if the subject, the witness, the victim, whatever you want to call them, the citizen, wants that footage, I'm going to make sure they have a copy of it. If you as an officer need that video because you need to prosecute something that happened in your view that maybe your body camera didn't catch, I will make sure you guys have that.
See, that's fair, man. I have zero issue with that at all. And I wish it was, and again, I haven't dealt with anybody that has come up like that in a long time, I'll be honest with you. I used to be over, it's DRU now, but it used to be SRT.
Yeah.
I was over there for like 6 years. And when it first started really getting big with all the protests and all that, like 2019, like COVID era kind of stuff, man, it was bad. It was really bad.
I'm going to tell you right now.
It wasn't just bad for us too. It was bad on.
I'll tell you right now. I've walked up to DRU and asked them what's going on. Most of the DRU will tell me what's going on, and I'll just stay back. It's just, again, it's the demeanor that I have when I walk up. I'm a big guy. You know, I mean, you see me with a camera, you should already assume press. Again, no one's ever hurt an officer with a camera. Okay, not to my knowledge. I'm not saying that somebody wouldn't film something, but I doubt that they're going to hold the camera in their hand because they're not going to be able to hold a weapon in their hand because usually you want two hands on a weapon.
Well, I can show you videos in Iraq of that happening, but yeah. But I get it. We're not there. I know.
That's war. That's not press. That's not, you know. But I'm trying to get to the point where officers can change their mindset about citizens, that not everybody is a criminal. Should you have your guard up? Sure, you should be cautious. I'm not saying drop your guard, but your demeanor on how you approach is gonna, this guy right here, it's just like the officers that walk up, give me your license registration. Well, what did I do? Just, I'll tell you after. That's the wrong way of going. Why do you think DPS walks up? Why do you think state troopers walk up? Say, I got you doing 42 and a 35, or I'm Trooper so-and-so with the Department of Public Safety. The reason for the stop today is you were doing 55 and a 35.
We are starting to, because I help with some of the recruit training and patrol procedures and stuff, when we teach traffic stops, that's how we're teaching them now. So immediately, what is your offense? Why did you pull them over? All that stuff, who you are, and all that before you go into, hey, let me have your license.
Because do you know what you've done? You've established already what the reason for the stop is. So you're not trying to make up one, because I've seen a lot of that happen. California passed a law that now officers have to tell them what, and it should be everywhere. You should tell me why I'm detained. If you suspect me of robbery, okay, great. So let's investigate, because I didn't do it. You know, but why do I have to?
Started implementing that too in the investigative stops for like narcotics and stuff.
Yeah.
When we do stops that are like the UC stuff that we do, we make sure that they have an offense. Even though we know we can stop them because we already know what's going on, we still get an offense so that we walk up and it doesn't change demeanor. Because if I walk up and like, hey, go ahead and step out of the car, which I will say there are times to do that, but whenever you have like an investigative stop for narcotics, something like that, we start doing that too, where, hey man, you didn't use your turn signal back there, no big deal. Can I get your license, insurance?
Hey, I got Waco Cop Watch who's asking a question. Ask him why they ID everyone in the car when they know the person has the right to say no.
Well, they can say no.
I know that. I mean, when you're asking, I understand you're asking.
I ask everybody.
You know,
but I'm asking. I'm not telling.
You're not telling. That's where, you know.
I mean, I'll ask everybody because I can show you time and time again of guys in the back of a car that got murder warrants. And the only reason we found out is because we asked for ID. Hey man, what's your name? No big deal. And we don't even have to get the physical ID. Just like, hey man, how old are you? What's your date of birth? That, and we can run them and find out that they have murder warrants.
But I've also seen where somebody's been ran and they've actually had the wrong person because.
Oh, I've done that, dude. But that's another thing too. There's people with the same name, the same date of birth, the same measurements, everything. I've had that. We had to actually get fingerprinted for this one dude because he matched to the T of somebody that had a warrant, and it turned out it wasn't him; it was a different guy. Like it's just sometimes that happens, dude. I mean, I've come across that once in my 16-year career, but it does happen. So you know.
Yeah, a lot of the people are starting to go back to like our beginning part of our conversation. Why they believe a call to dispatch, but don't trust anyone in person until they have a conversation. And they're basically saying, how come you don't give people the benefit of the doubt when you approach based on a call without, you know, even if the complaint, like these people were talking about the theft, okay? Why you believe them right off the bat?
Oh, I don't.
You know,
I'm going to talk to them and get the information, but I have no idea because their perception is different from somebody else's. I mean,
right.
Sometimes if I talk to somebody and they're like, oh, he did this and that to somebody, and then I go and talk to the other person, it's like, no, I didn't do that. You know, it's because people lie. We have to get stories from everybody. People say that somebody steals something when it turns out that they had permission to take it from another party in their residence.
Well, that's what I was going back to the trespassing. Just because someone's on the property and you get a phone call, because I seen that in a video where you actually had it.
The detention part of it to get just to see.
That's where the credible part of the call comes in.
Right.
Because if it's a neighbor, how do you know that he's trespassing? It's not.
Residence?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now if I'm the homeowner and I call and someone is on my property, that's a different story. But you know, you really got to verify that I am the homeowner before.
Yeah.
But like I've seen it where a neighbor's called about a black man in somebody's lawn who's mowing. Yep. And then all of a sudden they're arresting this guy because he refuses to ID.
I don't know about that.
And they're arresting him because he refuses to ID. And he's telling them, I'm a reverend. I have permission to be here. My truck's here. I'm mowing their lawn, for crying out loud.
I don't know about an arrest for that or anything, but at least an investigation. Hey, man, do you have permission to be here? Who are you? Who's the owner? Do you have their contact number? We can contact, make sure you are able to be here. You know, all that's just the due diligence stuff, right? Because if that's your property and somebody is on your property, but you weren't there, wouldn't you want to know if if somebody was there, whether you would be okay with them making sure they had permission to be there, because that's the other thing too.
Let me ask you this question,
Sure.
and I'll probably let you go because I gotta get going anyways.
You're good, brother.
So this is actually a real situation that happened to me
Okay.
up in Wise County.
Okay.
I'm at a bank recording from outside on the right of way because there's no sidewalk.
Okay.
It's just all easement.
Oh, gotcha.
It's one of the, the grass and shit. But it's right along the highway, right within 3 to 6 feet of the highway.
Right. What's considered
Yeah, so I know it's at least the easement. I know sometimes they're 10 feet to 20 feet.
Where was this at?
Wise County.
Oh, Wise. Okay.
So sheriff pulls up, hits his lights. That's a sign of detention. Okay, that's
Is it or is it traffic?
I'm standing on the side. No, because your backlights
the roadway?
your backlight would be traffic. No, he pulled over. He's
I
pulled
turn
over.
all mine on whenever
He's
I
pulled
pull
over. The front of your lights pointed at me is a sign of detention.
Perception. I don't think
To-
so. Because if I'm gonna hold traffic, I turn on my lights.
Let me ask you this:
I don't think that in depth.
when you get behind a car and you hit your lights, I got to pull over, right?
If I'm pulling you over, yeah.
That's a sign of detention.
Unless it's the side of a warning, traffic warning. If it's
I know, but I know they're there for me because somebody said they were calling. Okay,
all right.
so he hits the lights because the second cop doesn't hit his lights. He's behind him. He has his back lights on, but he doesn't have his front lights on.
Okay. All right.
Okay, so they're all the way pulled over. They're not in the road. They're on the shoulder. Okay, and then and I understand if you pop your back lights on, traffic safety,
Well, I do it for the front too. and again, I'm not arguing with you, but I'm telling you what I do also. Whether I'm stopping in a roadway,
it's even gonna get better. I'm assuming that the lights are on. I don't clarify, but I'm assuming the lights on mean I'm detained. Okay,
All right.
I'm just making the assumption.
Okay.
Okay, like most people would.
Right. Yes. Yeah. Well, I mean, if I pull up and I'm in uniform and I come and start talking to you.
And their lights aren't on, I'm just going to think it's a consensual conversation. The minute you pop your lights on, I'm going to think I'm detained for some reason. I don't know why, but because
everybody did, because that doesn't always happen.
I'm gonna ask that question.
And there's been times where I've done that, pulling up next to somebody, and they just keep on walking, and that's when they are detained. I mean, it could go either way. That's what I'm saying. The perception.
My assumption is when the lights come on facing me,
Okay.
and it's not a traffic situation,
Okay.
I'm detained.
Okay.
But I didn't ask that question.
All right.
The guy walks up and instantly started asking me what I was doing, which is fine. He's asking.
Okay.
Asking if it's just a First Amendment thing and going over that you have the First Amendment right to press, speech, and this and that.
The officer's going over that.
The officer's going over that, and me and Carolina are playing a little dumb. Like, what's playing a little dumb, but obviously we know that this officer knows. I mean, we were leaving, in fact, right when he pulled up.
Okay.
So it wasn't like we were out there on their property. It wasn't like we were on this. I know, I just saw that. And then next thing you know, he goes in the bank and he's trying to tell us to stand on their property. I'm like, well, well, I just don't want you to be in the road. No, you're telling me and trying to give me a lawful order that I'm detained because you've got your lights on and now you're trying to tell me where to stand. Because I want to stay on the easement. I don't want to stand on their property.
Sure.
Okay? It's theirs, not mine.
Yeah.
He goes in, talks for 5 minutes. He comes back out with an attitude, and I'm like, are we still detained? Yes. He just confirmed that I've been detained this whole time.
Okay.
Why? You got a First Amendment right. We've already covered that. We've already dispelled everything. Why am I still detained all of a sudden? Now that after you went in and talked to the complainant. So that's
Was he doing a trespass or anything? Or?
Nope. He said, yeah, you're still detained. I said, for what? He goes, I'll tell you in a second. He was on his phone, got in the car, he came back out and told me casing a bank was his suspicion. And we said, what's the statute for casing a bank? Because we're not covert. We literally were leaving. We don't have masks on. We're not trying to hide our identity. I've got a tripod out there with a camera, for crying out loud. It's now, where is your reasonable articulable suspicion? Because you just now violated my rights. And you just admitted it on camera. And now when I go to request the body camera and the 911 call, they block my records request. They literally call the bank to get a letter typed up for privacy issues and send it to the AG. And the AG is about the decision here in the next 2 weeks because it takes like 60 days. So that's what I'm saying is people will go to the point of either not, and the guy's been on the job, I think, like 2 years. And when I sat there and tried to explain to him Terry v. Ohio, he said, this ain't a Terry stop. It sure the hell is. Because you have to have reasonable articulable suspicion of a crime, and you don't even have that. You don't even have a hunch. So why am I detained? So this is what I'm trying to.
I I agree with it.
My thing is, if you're not going to come standoffish and you want to learn and educate yourself because I give you case law, but yet you don't know the case law, and it's the basic one you should have learned in the academy. It's the one that stems to give you the authority to detain somebody. You shouldn't be a cop, or you should either take it, chalk it up, and grow from it, not get standoffish about it.
No, yeah, you're right. I mean, I think that's where when you talk about like culture and being able to grow as professionals, and that's what we are. That's what we should be. That I would hope that more of people that are doing this, or the auditing, whatever you want to call it, like what do you call? I don't know. What do you call yourself?
I pretty much call myself a First Amendment activist because you may refer to it as auditing because it technically isn't.
And all those words come from whenever this first started with all the protests.
Yeah.
And stuff. So I mean, that's why I'm asking.
You call it cop watching because I come out here and if you got a scene going on, I'm gonna record it.
Yeah.
Okay. It's documentation because again, people don't think to pick up their phones and record the interaction.
I wish that more that do this kind of thing were like you and having the conversation, willing to help learn and educate versus looking for a payout, because that's been some of the experience also where the situation just gets completely blown out of proportion.
My situations that have potential payouts
Sure.
were never forced. The thing is, the officer could have avoided it at any point. I wasn't pushing the button or even stress testing or overstepping to try to bait somebody.
Again, that's what I'm saying. Like, I don't know those situations. I don't know those officers or what they were thinking or what they were doing. But me personally, in the experiences that I've had, and even having the conversation I am with you right now, this is how I normally am. Just because, now, was I like that when I was a year or two out? I don't know, because I was fresh out of the military. I was a younger guy.
Following orders, couldn't think for yourself is
Yeah.
exactly what it was.
Well, and that again, culture, right? I'm all for changing the culture to be able to have conversations. But I'm all for having the conversations to educate not just us, but also the public. Because
Well,
sometimes the public doesn't know.
Aldridge doesn't want to have that conversation. Noakes left. Noakes don't want to have that conversation. My whole thing is I lived in Fort Worth. I just recently moved out of Fort Worth because of what's about to come. I don't need the retaliation that I know is fixing to come.
For your stuff.
Yeah, I got 3 separate issues.
Well, I would hope not, man.
Like Cardona, Prather, and Hanson. I'm sure you know those guys. They're all in your division.
Man, I'll be honest with you. It's like 18.
Less than 4 years on the job.
No.
Everybody that I've had an issue with, less than 4 years on the job. And it's not that it's not that.
Do you think it's a younger, like the testosterone kind of thing?
No.
Or do you think it's just like an education thing?
No, I think I'm a cop. It's cool. I can play with my lights. I got a shiny badge. Whoa. That was right there.
Yeah, it's getting pretty dark over here.
It's more of a, I think it's more of a maturity level.
Okay.
I think it's more to a maturity level because
Not just in age, but also on the job.
I've got a car, I've got a badge, I got a gun. You do what I tell you to do, or I'm gonna put you in handcuffs. I'm gonna put you in torture cuffs. I'm gonna throw you in a cage and take you down to the dungeon, and I'm gonna steal your property and seize your forfeiture.
So I had a theory a long time ago, and this is just me talking as a human. Okay. I had a theory because I came into this job older. I did military. I did some stuff after the military before I came on the job. So I was 28. So when I came onto the job, I had a lot more life experience. And I think that actually absolutely played a role in my maturity as an officer also.
I think they ought to raise the age level.
I actually thought, in my perception, is to raise it to 25. That was
I was actually just getting ready to say that.
Yeah.
25.
Yeah, that was what I had said probably several years ago, just because. And even now with youth, I mean, the lack of social interaction with all Facebook and social media and all this stuff, we don't have this a lot anymore. The younger guys don't seem to have this a lot anymore, and I think that maybe a little bit of life experience would help them. But
Well, I'm hoping that I changed your perception on at least you know, this community, because we're not all bad. There are some people that may be looking for a payday.
Yeah. No, I do. Yeah, I mean, you did. That's why I said from the beginning. I mean, I wish we could do this more instead of like, you know, and if it's in a hot situation, like if something's going on, like, you know, I can't say that I won't be like, hey man, just stay over there, right? I can't say that I won't be like that because I'm human and I know I've got a lot of other stuff to. If it's active, I got a lot of other stuff to deal with. But I will absolutely. It's what I've made a habit of. Is I will absolutely come back and have a conversation after everything is done.
Well, I'll tell you right now, if from what you can legally do, from what they tell you down at the city attorney's office, if somebody's standing where they're standing on a public right-of-way or even private property, and you've allowed them to stand there,
Yeah.
the minute they say, hey, don't answer questions, and you push them back, you just retaliated against their speech and their what they're doing. And what the city attorney is, they don't realize that. Now, if you stop them before they get to that point, then anything after that is encroaching on your crime scene or your investigative stop. Don't allow them to get that far. If you do, tell them not to come any closer, because that now you've given them a lawful order to not intervene in your, but you can't push them back now because now you're retaliating. You just can't come any closer to me.
I think we've kind of started establishing that too now. For those that have, at least that I've heard, is that you establish an area for them right off the bat. If somebody's coming up, hey, what's going on? And they've got a camera or whatever. Hey, sir, see that sidewalk right there? Come on, just stay right there for me. You can film all you want.
If you tell them to stay on the sidewalk, that's good enough. Best thing to do, I know we say throw up your crime tape. Grab one of your cones out. Say don't pass the cone. Don't pass the cone, because you don't have to worry about taping something off. You just throw a cone or two up and say don't pass these cones. Hey, I know it's raining. I said I'm gonna get out of here. I'm gonna let you get back to it. I go by BZ.
BZ.
Yeah.
All right.
If you talk to a lot of the guys up on the northwest side, that's what I go by. That's how they know me.
BZ. All right.
I mean, if you go, I don't usually give cops my channel, but you go to BZ Watchdog on YouTube, and like I said, I pull body cam, I pull 911 calls. You'll see what I do versus what the cops. And I have a lot of good cop interactions. So, but you get back to work, go back 10-8, and be safe. All right.
What's that now? What'd you say, Keebler? That's what I said, 10-8. He just started laughing. All right, guys. I haven't done that yet, Texas gal. Oh, you're talking about the cop. I thought you were talking about Brownie. Anyways, he started off very standoffish. He said I changed his mind on auditors a little bit because we had a dialect and a conversation. Get a haircut, angry vet. It seems like he does know the basics of the law, but he still, as he admitted on camera, would actually violate your rights for his safety. And that, I still have a problem, because if you're looking at everybody as a threat, when you come up and stop somebody, that means he thinks that you are a criminal right off the bat and not a citizen. So, I didn't come across standoffish. I just simply asked him what he had going on the computer, because I wanted to see how busy it was today. As we saw, he wasted 20 minutes there, and our conversation was about an hour long. So hopefully you guys could hear his conversation. I was trying to repeat back a lot of what he was saying in case it wasn't being picked up. Now that it started raining, I didn't want to continue to have that conversation because it won't be beneficial for you guys to hear anything with the lightning, the thunder, and the rain that's happening. Plus, I got to be somewhere in about 20 minutes. So this just killed some time. But Wild Journey, I declined your call twice because I was live streaming. So I see that you're in the house. And just so you guys know, I was not looking at the camera and watching the chat. You can hear him loud and clear. That's cool. Good. What I was trying to do was put the camera down so he'd feel more relaxed to talk. But if you notice, I also acknowledged when Waco Cop Watch asked that question that that he knew he was still on camera. But if he's willing to learn and watch some of these videos, what's going on, Kinetic Customs? There you go. So I just want to I just kind of wanted to point that out to you folks of why I did that conversation. I wasn't trying to be standoffish. He did come across that way. I was hoping to sink it into his brain that not all of us are bad. And maybe he can change the way he polices for the rest of his career that's not left. But the one thing that I tried to stay calm about was he was willing to put his safety over our rights. And what's funny is, in the name of officer safety with Terry v. Ohio, even with the way the case law is written, you may claim, oh, Waco, I was just down there doing an audit last week. I'm staying between Waco and Hillsborough. In fact, Waco, I'm speaking at City Council tonight in Hillsborough, So hopefully this rain isn't that loud, guys. God dang. That was loud in this car. Feel like a storm chaser now. Waco Cop Watch, you should come speak at City Council tonight in Hillsborough at 6 p.m., man. And you need to go to Hillsborough and start filming the cops, because that's where we're uncovering a bunch of corruption. So I do appreciate everybody coming in. I'm going to end in the stream here in about 5 or 6 minutes as soon as I get out of this weather and can stop. We know it's probably about an hour and a half from where I'm staying, from Austin. I'm in Fort Worth right now, which is further north. Woo! Little bit of water on the road. There we go. Let me get off the highway. Going into downtown Fort Worth, y'all can't see nothing because it's just pitch black with all these clouds. So, yeah, I was gonna go to the Quick Trip up there. That's where I gotta go 10-100 myself. So. Yeah, I'm always careful, Brent. Even when I'm dealing with the cops, gotta be careful. Brownie. No. Appreciate everybody coming in. I got a video dropping Thursday morning. If you guys haven't already seen the video that I dropped yesterday, that is the 911 call and body camera footage unredacted from Keebler's incident that happened on April 16th in Hillsboro, Texas. From the very beginning, you can hear the one officer starting to cuss at her because she's asking why she's being like detained. Yep. It's the female cop is literally telling the cop not to curse, but then turns around and belittles her during the encounter, unlawfully detains her, and under threat of arrest demands ID. So make sure you guys go watch that body cam footage. Now, I will tell you this. I just did the 911 call in the body camera. If you go over to News Now California, I gave him the body camera footage, the 911 call, the disciplinary records, and the AI doll that I made of her. He put a very funny satire report of the whole story together. I'd recommend going over to News Now California, checking out that latest video that he dropped yesterday. If you want a little laugh at the officer's expense. It was pretty funny. I watched it yesterday and was dying laughing because the way he did the voiceover. But I believe Accountability for All is going to be dropping that story. I don't know when. As much pressure as we can put on Hillsboro right now, I need everyone's help. If anybody can get my footage or News Now California's footage to any bigger channels to pick up, hopefully, you know, here's the deal, We the People University, the Civil Rights Lawyer, anybody can pick it up. The more pressure I can put on Hillsboro right now would help me out greatly what I'm doing with boots on the ground. You know, I have a small channel of 12,600 and some odd people, and you know, people that have 200,000 subscribers, 100,000, 600,000, that just means it's getting out to more people. More people need to see this stuff. You know, I've been trying to reach out to media outlets. I got a newspaper reporter that's going to be at City Council tonight. So I'm trying to bring everybody I can, guys. I'm trying to get the word out. You know, there's a lot more to this story than just Keebler's situation. And I dropped another video after that. I've also got an 1 hour and 4 minute conversation on camera with the city manager after they refused her internal affairs complaint that I still haven't put out. I've got another tip where I sat on the call for 2.5 hours on Sunday with these people. They got unlawfully arrested by the same two female cops that had 2 other incidents in town there. I can't really go into details because it's an active investigation. But the husband was arrested. The wife was not. The wife will be at City Council speaking tonight, so I don't want to put her business out. So there's a lot to come, and I will be recording the City Council meeting tonight. It won't be live streamed. I won't be live streaming it. I don't know. I might live stream it. I don't know yet. I might live stream it. I don't know. I may set up the live stream for you guys. I don't know yet. I don't know. I may live stream it. I don't know. I just don't want my signal to be messed with. I want to be able to capture everything on video and audio and not get my signal messed with. The meeting is at 6 p.m. tonight, Waco. There's going to be at least the chief of police, which is someone I'm investigating, and another, I believe another cop, but because they know I'm coming, there may be more cops there. When I went to turn in that internal affairs investigation with Keebler, when they got wind that I was there, they literally recalled every cop in the city back to the damn department, because when we came walking out, the parking lot was full an hour and a half before shift change. So anyways, guys, I appreciate anybody getting up here. I'm going to be pulling into this gas station here in about 1 minute. So I got to take a little break before I go do what I got to do. Hey, my mods, please put out people's channels if they're asking for it. Please put their channels out there and mod it, and link it, and all that good stuff. You guys are running the chat. I'm just doing what I do best, which is flipping and running my gums and exposing dirty cops one at a time. You know, either through auditing or cop watching and investigating. That's what I do. Police accountability, people. Police accountability. I don't really get too much of the government. Speaking of cops, bingo! We got one right there. Actually, I may leave my phone running while I go inside. You may hear Brownie bark for a minute or two while I'm inside, but I may leave it running so we can see the cop. We'll see the door right there. I gotta run in and go use the restroom. I'll be right back. Oh, I'm back. Woo! Was Brownie behaving? Was he barking? I ran into a friend that's still working here. She asked the other girl, she goes, I haven't seen him in a while. Thought maybe you got locked up. Nope. They can't keep me locked up. You guys in the chat, was he barking? How long was he barking for? I know he barked when I got out, but did he stop barking? Or did he keep barking? He just barks. He barks because he's mad that I didn't take him with me. Come here. Kisses. Give me kisses. Oh, thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I gotta go pick up my mail real quick. Thank you. All right, guys. Wow, dang it. I'm gonna have to probably go take him to use the restroom. Take care of some things. But anyways, I'm gonna get out of here. I will talk to you guys later on the next live stream. So I'm gonna get the flock out of here. Just watch for my live streams. I'm gonna be out doing some stuff today, guys. So if you guys see me schedule the live stream for 6 p.m., then you guys know I'm gonna be doing the live stream live, or the city council meeting live. But anyways, guys, I'll talk to you guys later. Peace.